Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And we have it's going to be an exciting night. We just want it to be an informal chat. And our two groups are also welcome to join us. We'll be looking at your comments and your questions, and we'll take as many as we can. So, as you know, my name is Bumi Akomolafe, and I know these are familiar faces already because I've met the people who I'm chatting with tonight directly. So we have Edith who has joined us. We have Pastor Mrs. Yemi. We have Mr. Tega and myself will be. So we have a few things to just kind of rub minds on tonight. And I want to thank people who are going to be contributing as well for joining us. Edith is one of the people that we met, during this in the past 3 weeks. And I love her story so much. I've had a conversation with her a few times. And I just told her to please come online today to come and share your story. I know people have different reasons why they are looking to relocate. And I think everybody's story is personal to them. So I want to ask Edith, if you don't mind, to just tell us a little background. Were you born in this country? Did you come from Nigeria? What is, we just want to know everything. What is the passion, behind you wanting to go back? So we start with your background story, please.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Edith. I live here in the UK. I'm a mother of three. I'm blessed with three kids. Here, um, I'm a Nigerian. I was born and brought up in Nigeria. I was already an adult before I left Nigeria. So my own time when I left Nigeria, it wasn't just the jackpot. My own case was different. I didn't just move here on my own option. It was not my own options to move here. It was because my mom lived in Italy and she already had a citizen before she invited me and my elder brothers. So I know a lot of people will say that I'm fortunate, but yeah, I can say I'm fortunate, but it wasn't my idea. I didn't want to leave. I'm my people might not believe it, but I didn't want to leave. Though I was not a lady who was born with a silver spoon or a bronze spoon. I was born into when you mean poverty, when you can't even eat 2 square meal a day. But in that time, when you are poor, you are poor, you surrender with your poor people and you just feel fine. So I was doing well until I finished my secondary school. Then when you finish your secondary school, you have to wait for 1 year for your result to be out. And during that 1 year, most students will go and learn trade, hairdresser, and all that. But I was fortunate to learn a computer. I did my 6 months, and that was it. Let me just cut the story short. It was after I started my computer school for 6 months. Then I was fortunate to work in one of those cyber cafes that just came into Nigeria at that time. I was already working. I was fine. I felt that I was really living my life then. Then that was when my visa came out. It was not me alone with my other two brothers. And I didn't want to go. Because I didn't know what abroad is. Not like now there's social media. So abroad was not really freaking anybody that time. Anybody that wants to travel, maybe their parents, not for youth or for young ones. So yeah, that was how the visa came out, and I had no choice because I was not the only one. Like I said, I had to move with my brothers. There's no way my brothers would live without me. So that was how I joined my mom in Italy. That was about 20 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. And that's a really long time. So,
Yeah.
um, so I just want to ask, you said you moved to Italy. Were there some challenges, in your journey? Because I was just trying to follow your journey. So, Italy, then you moved to the UK. Were there some challenges that you encountered in Italy before coming to
A
the UK?
lot. I faced a lot of challenges. When I moved to Italy, I couldn't because of the language barrier. At that time, nobody speaks English. It's only Italian language. And like I said before, that I already finished my secondary school before I moved down. But getting to Italy, I had to go start from GSS2 again. So they demoted me to JSS2. So with that, I was not happy and I was not living fine. Anytime I close from school, I will run to one of my mom's friend to please help me beg my mom. It's either she take me back to Nigeria or she bring me to the UK, at least English speaking country that I can relate. But she disagreed, and after like about 2 years of struggling in school, I wasn't doing well. About 2 years to my living in Italy, my mom left the Italy to the UK, but this time without me. Then I had to start my life all for myself. I can't even feed, nowhere to stay. I was living from one house, from one auntie's house to one friend's house, church members and all that. Like anybody who is pregnant, I'll go live with that person because I love babies. I'll be taking care of them while they take care of me, and I can go to school. So that was how I did all through 6 years of my life in Italy. Then that was until I met my kid's father, my ex, that he now had to rent a room. Like someone has already rented the apartment, you know, when you rent a room from somebody. So that was how I rented the room from there. Then life begins. And at that time, I did all sorts of job. I can't like farm work. Um,
Wow.
there's no you can't get a job in Italy when you wear this skin. Nobody is going to take you. No, you can't get a job unless the dirty one. Maybe you have to be in the kitchen washing dishes. You can't be, even if you are okay, you can speak the language, you can't be outside serving food. You have to be doing the dirty one in the kitchen. I have to work in hotel to clean. I do cleaning job. I did a lot. And those work I was doing is not like they will take you a full. They can just take you for three weeks or max to, I was able to be saving, and my kid's dad was helping when he can until when I got pregnant with my daughter, that things was even worse. That I had to relocate to Nigeria. So yeah, I relocated to Nigeria
Wow. So we're
because
coming back
things,
to that. Let's just
yeah.
hold it there. Yeah, because we need that information. Wow. So I see that you really have that experience, really raising kids as well in this country. And that brings me to this point. A lot of people in our Japa group, they've been asking, why are people who are abroad, why are they running back to Nigeria? So that brings me to these challenges. People with children, people who have to do odd jobs. People come with different kind of documentation that some people is when they get here, that they get stuck and they don't even know what to do. So I'll direct this question to Bratega. So what are some of the challenges that you think is frustrating people out there, that people are facing? With it could be family, it could be even work-life balance, mental health. So many of them. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Um, Thank you for inviting me to your maiden live stream. Yeah, it's an honor. Anyways, and greetings to everyone. Yeah. So there are numerous challenges that people face. Every family is unique in its own way. Uh, so some people would have come to the Western countries. I'm speaking to UK. I don't know. I can't speak to what obtains in the US, Canada. I reside in the UK, so from what I see, from the onset, they don't make that research about the country where they want to, settle. Uh, Either they don't make research or they don't make enough or adequate research. Ask people the right people the questions about that country. They've not sat down. So I'm speaking to a couple now. They've not sat down. A couple who have children or who may not have had children. They've not sat down to actually say, okay, what are the challenges? We do kind of a risk assessment, like an RCA, risk assessment of what are the likely challenges they may encounter. because that country, they just coming in, they don't know nothing about the country. Maybe they just heard people talk about it. The street is paved with gold and all that. They may be given the wrong, they might have the wrong notion or conception, you know. When we just come here, anything you do, you know. And some people may give misleading information. That's why you need to, so if they've not done proper research, ask the right people the questions, you know, people, or you go speak to people who only tell you what you want to hear. Then by the time you now come here, uh, you now see it's a different ball game. That the grass is not actually greener at
The
the
other
other
side.
side. And then you begin to ask yourself questions, especially where you were doing fairly okay, from your home country. You have people who were working in the banks, people who were directors, people who were running their own businesses. They have people, they had their drivers, they had everything. And it's, because one couple just seeing something trending, everybody is relocating, and you just join the bandwagon. It's like you just jump, and then it's after you've jumped before you now look. This hole I'm jumping over, is it deep? And rather than calculate, okay, how far do I need to go back, run, and then leap? You know, so it's these are the things. And then when you now come here, it's either one person has a job first, or they both don't have a job, and then they're what's it called? Using the funds which they've raised, the properties they've sold and all that. And then when the challenge of finances come in, it puts a strain on the relationship, and then they are at each other's throats. And
Yeah.
if there are children there, you see you see how it's going.
Yeah.
At the end, the
Pattern.
children then suffer it. So it's really it's a lot. And then some people just say, look, I'm tired of this because they're not making any progress. Like the lady said here, Edith said, you know the color of your skin, I wouldn't say it exists. This racial profiling, and it does exist to an extent. you know you're applying for jobs and things like that, or you're still trying to get to know the culture where you are, what not to do, what to do. So there's so many things in the mix. And if you're not careful, then you could just get discouraged and get lost and
Yeah.
then start being resentful towards each other, which
Yeah.
doesn't help the matter. So from the onset, when you've had that thought, you want to japa, I mean, when you want to relocate, for those who don't understand Yoruba, when you want to relocate as a couple, you need to ask yourself questions. You need to, because it's a serious thing, especially when you have children. You have your career, especially, and also when you have your career already going on for you. You have things, you have houses and all that, and then you are here coming to count salary. So you need to ask yourself these questions. Uh, you need to know the person whom you're married to. You need to know yourself.
That's
Know
deep.
thyself. You need to know yourself. Yeah? What are your values? What do you stand for? What is the threshold of the tolerance of hardship you could face?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I agree with that.
You have to agree that come what may, both of your hands will be on the plow. Now, if you don't do that, then you say you don't know your partner. Your partner just says, yeah. Your wife says, or your
Yeah.
husband says, yeah, I'm in it with you through thick and thin. And then when you now come, and then you now see the thing in real life, and then one person is backing out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does break marriages, doesn't it?
It breaks marriages. So it will take the grace of God, especially for the person who maybe the leader and the leader of a marriage should be a man. To If he's faced with that situation, it will take the grace of God for him to be able to handle it and weather the storm. Because now he's dealing with the outside world, and the home front is dealing with his wife and the children. You see?
Thank you very
And
much.
it could be vice versa too. It could be the woman too. The husband is not pulling his weight, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
Then she's battling with the world out there, the children, and also the husband who is not pulling his weight. So
Good.
it's going to put a strain on the family. And then at the end of the day, it's the children who suffer. So all I would say is if you've planned from the beginning, it's not just praying. Also, when you pray, you need to put in the work. If you're
Yeah.
going for a professional exam, you don't just sit down there and pray. You need to
Prepare
pull
for
your
it.
and do the work. You need to do the study. You need to revise. Study to show thyself approved. You need to put in the work,
Yeah.
right? So if you've not done that, then it's on faulty foundation, and it's just a matter of time when that family unit would
Yeah.
experience hardship, strain on the relationship, and then eventually crash, and then you know,
Yeah.
the children suffer it. So
Thank you very much.
plan from the beginning, if you plan from the beginning, you say, okay, this come what may, we are going where I need together. Then yes, those storms will come, but with God by your side, you would weather it through, and you'll just look back to say, wow, we made it. You know, so if both of you have bought into the vision, yeah, and with God by your side, you could make it. But if you don't plan, then you've
Yeah.
planned to fail. Yeah.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
think somebody's asked a question around children and schooling. So I will let Pastor Yemi, she's also children's social worker, to talk more about some of these challenges that I know she sees this. You see this day in, day out. You see marriages break up. You see the challenges that families go through out there. Somebody's asking in the comment section. I think he said, "What if you have children who are age 12 plus and schooling?" I think the person should please, Eva, please, if you can just be more specific with your question. So in the meantime, I'll let you just talk about some of the challenges that families are going through out here. We know that we are pushing out people go on social media and they present themselves in, there's so much fake life on social media. People will display their cars, their beautiful homes, and people see the beautiful things. But people shy away from these challenges. And I think people need to know as well that the people come to abroad, they can make it abroad because they can also, go through very difficult situations that they might never recover from. So Ma, please take the floor, Ma.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for having me on your platform.
Thank
Oh
you.
no, on our platform.
On our platform.
Well, the most important thing as a family, the father and the mother, for those people who maybe they were already in a relationship or married before leaving their home country, is to decide what is the threshold, what is the threshold, and also to agree from the beginning that they're going to have to, on this journey, continue to evaluate and reevaluate, and don't start off burning your bridge from the beginning, because in Yoruba language there is an adage that says if there is a blockage along the road on a journey, at least you should be able to retrace your step back home. But if you started out having burnt the bridge, then that could be a problem for starters. And again, traditionally, I don't know how we've arrived at this stage in our world that if you're traveling somewhere, you don't intend going back home, because as a farmer, if you're going to your farm, you always at the back of your mind, however big the harvest is, that you're going to have to go back home. You're not going to get stuck on your farm and say, oh, this is now a big plantation, I'm not going back home anymore. But that said, I know people have different reasons for traveling in the first instance. But in terms of, how to integrate in a foreign land, look before you leap from the beginning. Don't do your research. Don't just go with the flow. We want to travel. And if you want to travel, make sure you just travel. No disrespect. This is my sincere two penny for what is worth. Make sure you're going to a foreign land with the right visa, with the right paperwork. Don't go on a hunch or on a promise. I will do this when you arrive. You will live in my house. I will settle you this and this. Because you'll find out nobody is settling anybody. Don't come on a visiting visa after selling all your belongings on a visa that doesn't take you, that takes you on a journey of nowhere, you know, a journey of no destination, visiting visa. Even many visas now, if you don't do the research about that visa, it's so important. It can make or break you. And when I say that, I mean even the family and the journey and the children and everybody. Somebody's child can even end up being another person's child because of wrong visa. If you have a wrong visa, how are you going to make it? After selling everything, you can't stay there and you can't go back home. And no one is going to be able to help you, no matter how much your friends love you, or your pastor, or your church community. They can't help. They're on the wrong visa. And we want to start cutting corners. Please, if there is anyone out there, I'm begging you, don't go to any of these countries on the wrong visa. You're even better off staying in your home country. Because you know, why do you go to a country where you can't have a bank account? Can't open a bank account? It will be against the law. You can't rent. You don't have legal right to a tenancy. Even if you have your money in your hand, you can't rent a tenancy. You can't rent a place in your own name. Even if you by any stroke of luck find a job off the record, they can't even pay it into your bank. You don't even have a bank account to pay it into. You pay someone, they pay your money into someone else's account, who then decide how much of your earnings they relinquish to you. And this visa, they have a time span. If it's not the right visa, even if you come on whichever visa and the lifespan is how many years. And by the time they start telling you how much you used to renew this visa, it's like serious bondage. And it's too much. So that is like the biggest challenge is the immigration route itself and the cost. There is something in economics we learned in O level, opportunity cost. Is it worth it? You see, when you add all the, and you renew 2.5 years, or 3 years, or however long you're required to renew, and it's not small money. And now you have to work extra hard to cover the cost of these renewals, to pay the bills, to pay the rent. And if you're on a student visa and they charge you how many times over more than their own students. So it's not easy pulling all these finances together. And it's not an equal footing right from the onset. It's so challenging. And then that is where it now comes to the children, because we're trying so hard to make the end meet. You're working for your landlord, you're working for the bills, you're working for the university, then you're working for yourself, and people are counting on you from back home. Even if they're not counting on you, you still want to show that now, me too, I'm abroad, I can send you something. My people, it's a lot.
Let me just ask this question very quickly. So somebody asked here that what is the UK schooling system compared to that of Nigeria? Just now that you're talking about the children, how would you compare the two?
I will say there is no basis for comparison, because UK schooling system is UK schooling system. It depends on where you are. There are very excellent schools in UK, and I believe that the government, the average school, the public schools are well resourced. They have teachers, they have equipment, they have materials, everything is there that the government has made ready for the children. In our own public school system, we know there is a whole lot of challenge. We've got a lot of challenges with our education system because they're not so equipped. So that is an obvious thing. But that doesn't mean that some children don't do well in UK system for whatever reason, however resource it is. They go back to Nigeria and they flourish. So sometimes it is not about which school is more resourced that makes them a better school. There's so many things to consider. So I'll leave that as that. But one thing I'll say before I forget, while we're talking about children, is if you bring your children to this country, maybe they're born here, especially the ones we bring from Nigeria, don't, even however negative your Nigerian experience was that brought you to abroad, don't be sharing it with your children as if your own country is the pit of hell. Because we give all that impression to our children, and then at some point you now say, "You're going." Why should they want to go back with you? Because you already sold that country out as if it's nowhere to be. And then each time they maybe do something wrong or misbehave, the first form of punishment is, "I'm going to return you back to Nigeria." That is the biggest punishment you can think of. We should not be doing that.
Yeah.
We should not be doing that because in Yoruba language, they say, the way the Nigeria is 20 years ago is not how it is today. And the way it is now, 20 years from now, is not how it is. So don't let us cheat our offspring of their inheritance, their heritage, because we so slander the country as if, even if they give it to them on a platter of gold now, they will say, "No, I have nothing to do with that country." So let us have that at the back of our mind.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. That was really, really deep. So I'll go back to Edith. I know Edith is a mental health nurse. And just like me too, that I'm a nurse, we have social workers among us, we have professionals among us, and we are looking to go back to Nigeria. And these are things that people are envying, like they are thinking, these are courses that you people should be happy now. You should be contented. You should be able to settle down and work and enjoy your courses that you've done. So what then is the drive? What is your passion? And you said you've also relocated before and then you came back. Do you want to talk a little bit about that first?
Yeah.
What was your experience?
The reason why I relocated while I was in Italy, because I was suffering and I couldn't feed. So it was just as if I was existing. Everybody is counting the year. Oh, she's been there for 6, 7 years, but I wasn't leaving. So I decided I'm someone who loved my country right from even before I left till now. So whenever I'm going through stress, I want to go back home because it's stress-free for me. So that time I just decided that I'm going back home. I already had a daughter and there was no help. I can't go to work. And even if I had to go to work, I had to start pleading with people who can help me look after my kids. So I can go do maybe 4 or 5 hours. And that is not life for me. So I had to save up a little. I relocated to Nigeria. I will tell you that 3 years I spent in Nigeria was the best that I've ever lived abroad because I was doing perfectly well. I had workers working for me. I didn't have a house. I don't have a house then. I can't even and there was nothing to my name. I rented an apartment and I was living fine. I didn't go to Island or Banana Island. I went to a place that nobody even knew that I came back, but it's a very good place. I just live minimal, you know. So the reason why people will say, okay, why did you go back? I went back because when I went to Nigeria, I put in for my citizenship, in Italian citizenship. So it came out, so I had to go back to pick up my citizenship. And during that time, my daughter's dad wanted to see my daughter because he hasn't seen her for like more than 3 years. So that was when I got pregnant again with my son. So getting pregnant, there's no way it would not be fair that I already have citizenship. And there's no way I will have to have my baby in Nigeria because I won't be able to give him the citizenship. So the only option was to come back. All right, so I moved to the UK when my baby was a month old. Coming here, it was even from fry pan to pan to fire because here I had my mom here, but right from square one, she didn't assist me. So I had to sort myself out, and that was hard to me. No job. I had 2 kids, no one to help me look after my kids. And I couldn't, before I could, all the money I brought from Italy got finished after 2 months of no job, nothing. So I had to look for work, and I need to look for someone who will help me look after my kids. So I started looking for a job, and the first job I could get was a domiciliary job, which is very, very difficult, but I had no choice. I had to go. I started looking for who will help me look after my kids. I found someone, it's not free, but sometimes I'm just going to work and they will call me back. Your baby is crying, come and take your kids because I don't want wahala, I don't want police, I don't want this. It was very difficult. Even the time that they would allow me to work all through the day, I will go to work, I will leave the house 7 o'clock, come back 8 o'clock in the evening. And when you calculate my hours, maybe it's just 4 hours. For the domiciliary job, it's just 4 hours, and I left the house at 7 o'clock. Guys, when I come back from work, the worst part is when you come to meet your kids. They were crying before you left, and you still come back. You still meet your kids crying, a month old. Like, sometimes I'll go drop them and I will just be going to work. I will cry and cry and cry. Like, what kind of life is this? I did that for 1 year. It
Wow.
was not easy at all. So I couldn't cope. I said, no, this is not life. I had to go back to Nigeria, even if I don't have anything to call my own. Let me just go home, you know. Then that was when a lady that I knew in Italy, the city where I live now, she's my mom now. Like she's someone that have helped me. So she said, I know that you love Nigeria, and when you went to Nigeria, it was fine because you planned it before going. But now that you are going with no plan and with 2 kids, it's going to be very difficult. If you don't mind, this place where I am now, it was like a village before. There was no black, very quiet city. Like me, I lived in Manchester. So when I come to visit her, I always say that I'm going to the village because it's not far from Manchester. It's 30 minutes, but there was no black at that time. My daughter was even the first black student in her school, the whole big school. So then she said, if you want, you can come. You can come here. Then I'll take you to where I work. Where you are working, you can be doing 2 days. While I'm doing 2 days, I will be helping you look after your kids, if you don't mind. And that day, I didn't know what to tell her. I was just filled with joy because then let me call the story short. She 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 took me to where she works, and I started working in the care home where she works, and she was helping me to look after my kids. She helped me to look after my kids for good 5 years, like what my mom could not even do. So that's why I tell you, when you are coming here, don't rely on father, mother, because anybody that house you for 1 week here in abroad, just know that that person is your second God because nobody house anybody. So I lived with her for almost 1 month. Like I literally can tell her when I cook, don't touch that food because of how close she were to me. Like when she's cooking, I can go there and eat everything without her knowledge. That's how nice she is. She single-handedly look after my kids. So
You are very brave. We really
it's so difficult because
oh,
the story I'm saying now, it looks so short, but you can imagine all these years till 5 years or 4 years back, I was still going through all this. Like, there was never a moment of like, okay, I've arrived. I was still struggling. So I started living 4 years ago, 4 years till now. That was when I started seeing that, okay, I'm achieving something.
something.
you know. So yeah, the woman is still my grace today. Even when the socials try to take my kids from me, and I had the mom here, but she wasn't there. My kids live with my this I call her auntie. She's not related to me in any way. My kids, my auntie, she took them for good 1 month because the social said I cannot see them. If I don't have anyone to look after them, then they will go with them. She was the one who took care of those kids for 1 month. I don't I don't give her money. I don't buy her anything. She won't even collect anything from me. So yeah, that's how I've been living. Then this year, I don't know if I should go on. Then this year I just decided that I can't live I can't continue living like this. I've been able to achieve a little and I can't wait. For example, if you want to wait for your retirement, it's because you've worked for 20 years, 30 years. Okay. How long have I worked? How long am I going to work? I'm in my 40 now. Do you want me to wait another 30 years? Yeah, to work again before I retire? And I'm already tired. It look as if I've been working for 20 years till now. So since I've been struggling, then it's time for me to go relax. Like, I don't want to, like, I always say that I cannot give what I don't have. If I said I should be here because of my kids, they are still young. My last baby is 2, 8, and 13. So how long will I have to still suffer? And since if I'm suffering, I cannot give them that thing they want, that joy they want, because I'm not happy, then it will still reflect on them negatively. It's better I go home where I know that I'll have full control, I'll have that that mind of taking care of them. I will be in their life. Like now, I'm not always at home. Monday to Saturday, I am not at home. If I'm not working, I'm in school. Like I'm always busy. So I have walked this far. Let me go home. I will be coming. I'm not. I was. I'm not repatriate. They didn't repatriate me now. So definitely, I can always come for visit. And still, yeah. I'm just tired. When someone is saying tired, like, yeah.
Yeah, I can really relate with your story. And there's somebody here too who is saying, I can relate so well with you. So you are not alone, just because I'm just reading the comments now. You are not alone. I mean, that's exactly how I feel too. So if I look at our ages, we are within the same age bracket. So it's not like me to have worked any lengthy period of time to say maybe I've accumulated any reasonable pension. I think it just gets to the point where you feel like you just need that rest. Me, in my own case, I've worked back to back 15 years, and with juggling family and juggling full-time work is so hard. I think it's driven me to the point where I feel like I need to take care of my mental health. Because there are some days I just feel like I'm just going to break down. But then if I look at the children I have and the responsibility, I just pick up myself again and I just still go to work. And it's just an unending cycle. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And the way our broad country is kind of designed, in my own opinion, is not designed for you to get super duper rich. I know we have a few, very few who come maybe with very good jobs, you know, like doctors and consultants and those people, but not everybody is going to be a doctor or be a consultant. And even those people too that I mentioned too, they still have their own challenges. And I know some who actually go to Nigeria too a lot. So somebody is asking, when did you become a nurse? So I know you're just about rounding up
No,
your
yeah,
course.
I'm rounding up. Yeah, I work in mental health sector, so I'm rounding up my uni now. It's no, yeah, I'm supposed to be done now, but because I had my daughter, so I had to take 1 year off. So you see, kids still,
Still play that part,
still,
isn't it? So somebody
yeah.
said, I just finished having this conversation of relocation with my children now to prepare their mind because I am tired. That's somebody's comment as well. So, like somebody was saying that, some people come abroad and they make it. I think it's personal to everybody. When you say you make it, the question is to what extent you make it. What's your definition of actually making it? You understand? So some people will come here, and if it's just to buy one house in Lagos, for example, is all they've achieved, and they see that as making it. Some people are contented with that, and some people are not satisfied with that. They still want more and want more and want more. So we see so many other challenges that people are going through here. I've heard yesterday now somebody just sat down at the bus station. They just sat down waiting for the bus, and by the time the people around them knew what was happening, the person was already dead, just sitting down at the bus station waiting. And we are hearing these stories happening a lot now. So I know I'm not alone in that, but you are not alone. And I don't think Nigeria is that bad, that the way people are painting it. Because what I do is I call people in Nigeria and I speak to them. And I know a lot of us go to Nigeria, a few times. Me, I've not gone too many times in the last few years. But at least I went 2 years ago. So I just want to thank you so much for that courage, for sharing your story. So let's talk about some of the things that we need to prepare. We are going to Nigeria. We can't just up and move. So somebody made a comment here to say people come abroad and they don't plan this much and they are okay. But why are we planning so much to come to a country where we are quite familiar with? And that takes us to the fact that Nigeria is a different kind of country, that we really need this much time to plan. Do you agree? Bratega, do you want to go on this one? If somebody is going to Nigeria now, do you agree that we need this planning with the way they describe Nigeria today?
Well, I've lived in Nigeria for much of my years. Well, for over I could say up for over 20 years. So I schooled there, primary, nursery, primary, no, not nursery, primary, secondary, and then university. And I've been to different regions of Nigeria, from South, Lagos. I lived most of my life in Lagos, to the north also. So, Nigeria has a lot of dynamics to it. So you can't, if you've been away for a very long time, yeah, and then you think you could just return back without planning, you're going to be asking for trouble. you know. I mean, in Nigeria, yes, you have the family unit there. They're always willing to help, which is a good thing. You don't have that in the Western world or in the UK here. Like Edith was saying, the issue of child care and all that. In Nigeria, you have nuclear family, other family that could always help out for even free some of the times, or most of the time. They are there for you. Uh, but with the way Nigeria is, there's no regulation. You have issue of security. You have issue of what's it called, power supply, pipe-borne water. You have to provide everything for yourself. You need to have good money. So people say, oh, they come here, they made it. You're a salary earner. What's your net worth? Hmm? If your job stops today, what's your net worth? You don't just listen to people because you're on maybe 100K, or what's 100K? 100K out, when you take tax off it, what does it translate to? In Nigeria, if you want to live well, you have to have good money, and in Nigeria, there's money to be made. It's just information and knowledge. There are people who are in the bush there, in the farms there. They're making good money because you have Nigerians all over the world. and Nigerians must eat. So they are doing their business, they are doing the grind, they are doing the dirty work, preparing all this, what's it called, like dried fish, foods that Africans, Nigerians eat. They're shipping it abroad and earning their foreign currency.
Yeah.
So things like inflation doesn't affect them. So we need to be very careful. Take with a pinch of salt what people, especially these days of social media. Everyone has one kind of phone and what's it called, a ring light, and you come up and start saying things. There's a lot of money to be made in Nigeria, but irrespective of that, if you want to be responsible, you need to plan. You need to plan. Where are you going to reside? Are you going to Banana Island? Hmm? Are you going to Lekki Phase One? Are you going to the mainland? Hmm? You have to factor, and if you're going with your children, what schools? Because private schools in Nigeria are private schools that you pay through your nose. Or do you want to put them in public schools that are not regulated properly? They have challenges. In the UK here, the public schools, they are regulated. Yes, if you have, and they are classed, they are graded by Ofsted, the regulator. You have schools that are outstanding, schools that are good, very good, poor, and you have the reports. In Nigeria, could you get that in kind of information? If you go on the internet now, if you want to reside maybe South London or whatever and the schools around your postcode area, you go to the Ofsted, you go and look up the Ofsted report. You will see everything documented there. Provision is being made by the government. But in Nigeria, you have to provide everything, almost everything. Your light, you see people getting solar and they're sinking borehole. They're providing for their own security and all that. They're providing their own security. They have to get these mobile police to follow. Do you know what it is to run all those things? But if you don't have a business or something that is creating the money to foot those bills, then So people say they've made it. Come show us the work. You need to plan. There's money to be made in Nigeria. There's a lot of money to be made. Agriculture, there's a lot of money, and we have the population, and we have Nigerians all over the world. So you need to plan properly. You need to, okay, what am I give yourself timelines. You need, if you save some funds, save some money, you need to go once in a while, short holidays once in a while, do your feasibility studies, put in the work to do your research, what you actually want to do. It's not going to be easy, but as far as you've had a plan and you're working towards it, then you should be fine. You can't just travel from one country because it's a third world country or a developing country, and then you say, "Oh, you will foot everything." Telling Nigeria could be expensive. If you're living in Banana Island or Ikoyi, so there are some places you pay your rent in they don't
in dollars.
accept. So we need to be mindful of what we listen to on social media.
Somebody's laughing here when you mentioned Banana Island. Please, we are abroad. Where is the money to go and rent Banana Island?
Can I just add to Tega?
Yes, please, go ahead.
When they said that we are planning to come, we have to plan this much. Where you have lived for like more than 1 or 2 decades, you will not want to go to Nigeria and now just go back to. It's better you just stay here, just be working and be paying the bills, that you now go back and there's nothing to show for it. And you will see that most of us that are going back now, you are not going to live as a millionaire. That's one thing. If it was that good, if it was that good, I don't think that we'll go and we will be saving. Once we say we are tired, we'll carry our bag and we are leaving. Most of us here, we have been planning that we want to live for the past how many years. We are still saving the minimum that we want to come and live there. So it's not easy. Sorry.
So what I would say is this. In the Western world, everything is structured, yeah? So you're working, you have an occupational pension, you have a state pension, right? When you get to a certain age, they'll give you a lump sum and what have you, and it's huge money depending on the length of time you've worked. Now, you have that in your mind, and what I've said is like you go to Nigeria once in a while just to see, it could be a week, 2 weeks, just to see, what areas. And like you said the other time, you don't need to go to like the island or what. You could go to the mainland, the cheap, or even like me, country home. You go, Delta State. It mustn't be like you want to show off to say I've made it, but you can afford the basics. You can afford what's it called, a roof over your head, your own home. You can buy a plot of land. Buy a plot of land. Start small. Anytime you're going there, you say, okay, I'm going with this money. You have people who going to build the house, or it shouldn't be something massive. It could be a bungalow in a very cheap, you start small. But the thing is, you have to write all these things down. You have to plan it.
Proper planning.
Proper planning.
So that brings me to this question, Bratega. So I want to ask, the point you've made now remind me of a video. Just remind me of a video I watched on YouTube about the shame of relocation. Somebody tagged their video, the shame. And I'm not looking at the, when you are going back and you want to live within your means, and we are saying, okay, we can go back with the little that we have. What about family expectation over there? What about, some of us will kind of gift people, like we are here, we send money. I know a lot of people fall within this category. We send money back home. I did one of my videos on that as well. How do you think people will receive you when you go back and you want to live within your means? You are expecting to go and live among family. Do you think you can still have that kind of relationship with people without having that money to be handing out to them like you've been doing before?
Well, I would say you put yourself in the position of a Santa Claus, right? Father Christmas.
Seriously, that's
right?
what I want to
The fact that you're helping people, you've been benevolent, helping people, it doesn't mean you Father Christmas. And are you living to people's expectation? We all running our individual lives, if I can help you, I can help you. If I can't help you, tough. I wouldn't go and do something to inconvenience myself. But if I would help, if you are in need, I'll help you. Give whatever I can. But I'm not going to live my life. So if I have my bungalow there, then people are expecting that I'm supposed to be in, in a massive mansion somewhere. No. I'm living my own life. You go live yours. As far as I have
the money now, it's a process, it's a journey. So let us just win our children.
Thank you so much, man. We have got 10 minutes overboard. So I see a lot of comments. I'm laughing so much here because of what people are saying in the comments. It's really fun in the comments. And I think I'll just put it out there that this is the first live session we've done, and I've enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much, Sister Edith, Bratega, Pastor Yemi. I'm so grateful. And thank you to everybody who attended and commented. And what we'll be doing is we are going to see how we get on. Maybe if you can do this maybe once a week or twice a month. And we will put the topic of discussion out there, and we'll look at people who have knowledge about what we are going to discuss. And then we can come out like this and, educate ourselves, educate people. So going forward, I will just put it there. If you know that you have knowledge about the topic that we put in the announcements in the group, just private chat us, and then we can prepare you for to come live, because we won't be able to take everybody onto the live screen. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been fun. This is going 8:40, and we will carry on with our chats within the group. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.